Let's go to Dublin for an early start game on Sunday. It's the best Irish accent I can do at this stage. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Vikings Steelers. Early start, 6:30 a.m. here on the left coast, 9:30 for you back east. The Europe games have begun. And right now, looking at the Wager Talk, the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Minnesota minus 2.5, total of 41. There are some 40.5s out there, juiced to the over, but mostly 41s for this ball game. And we're talking about two struggling offenses. Make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers has not been good for Pittsburgh so far this season. Last week, they managed to get to 21, in large part because the Patriots made a lot of mistakes in that ball game. And Baltimore and Pittsburgh's defense was able to take advantage. So we'll give them credit for forcing the 5 turnovers, including 2 inside the 5-yard line. But Pittsburgh's offense has not been good. Their defense hasn't been particularly good either. But offensively, what did we see? One play of 20 or more yards last week. Aaron Rodgers with 139 passing yards, 4.1 yards per play. You know, this isn't a team that has been moving the football up and down the field. The running game's been dicey. The receiving core's been dicey. And Aaron Rodgers is looking like a 40-something-year-old QB who are not generally bet on quarterbacks. And Rodgers, a guy with an outsized reputation, I mean, his last good year was what, 2021, 2022? It's been a while for Aaron Rodgers. I'll leave it at that. So it's not like I'm excited about the Pittsburgh side of the equation. Of course, Minnesota's got the Carson Wentz side of the equation. And Wentz coming off. And Wentz is a veteran. We expect Wentz, when put in good situations like he was last week, to be able to move the offense. They talked about it. Mike Tomlin talked about how he worries more about the veterans than he does about the youngsters. He'd rather face J.J. McCarthy this week. And Minnesota certainly had more offensive production last week than they did under McCarthy. But we've seen enough from Wentz in this league not to trust the guy. Really have. And it's, and again, Kevin O'Connell, I was the least surprised person in the whole building. He was able to get out there and effectively run our offense. Sure, for one game. Now he's got to do it another game. And he's got to do it. Not like Pittsburgh's defense has been good, but it's not like Minnesota has this juggernaut offense that we can expect to put up points in bunches week after week. Now, there are some factors in the Steelers' favor. Certainly this. So they're playing before the bye, and teams before. People always talk about, they're coming off the bye. They're coming off the bye. Coming off the bye is not a bet-on spot in the NFL. Going into the bye is the bet-on spot, because nobody wants to hear it for 2 weeks from the coach and the fans and their friends about how bad they sucked in the last game. It's very true. So going into the bye, we've seen teams, in all kinds of roles. We've seen for the favorite role, the underdog role, both have been profitable for teams heading into the bye week, and that's what the situation Pittsburgh's in now. Minnesota gets to stay in Europe for another week and then play next week before they come home and have their bye. So in that sense, advantage Steelers. But there's also the fact that Minnesota's played, and I think Europe has something to do with this. That has something to do with the handicap. All right. But when we talk about Minnesota, and Pittsburgh last played in Europe, it was, 10, 12 years ago. It's been a while. They lost to Minnesota, by the way, last time they played over there. Minnesota played in Europe last year. And they also played 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2022 and 2024. So the fact that they have this experience of playing overseas, the preparations, the changes you need to make, in my mind, that's an edge. That's a legitimate edge for the Vikings. The Vikings deserve to be favored, and I think the Vikings are the better of these two teams. Certainly on the defensive side of the football, I think Minnesota may well be the much better of these two teams. Pittsburgh's got big names, but those big names, other than creating 5 turnovers last week, again, New England outgained them by more than a yard per play in that ball game. I've got a lot of concerns about the Steelers' defense, despite the fact that we've seen, that they held New England to 14 last week. That was as much the Patriots making. That was all about the Patriots making mistakes, not necessarily about Pittsburgh shutting them down. So I guess the answer here is Carson Wentz and the Vikings lead Minnesota in this early start game. If I'm playing, of course, the favorites have done well. Last 50 international games, Favorites 32-18. They made money. And the NFL's had that many international games now, so it's actually a decent sample size. So, yeah, I'll look at the Vikings here at 2.5. All right, I don't want to lay 3 with Minnesota, but the current number, 2.5, that's the way I would look. Listen, guys, we appreciate those likes very, very much. If you like this type of content, please hit that like button. Makes all the difference for us. We appreciate the follows. More than 220,000 of you following Wager Talk TV now on YouTube. If you haven't done so, get instant alerts every time these videos go live. And of course, we appreciate the comments. Tell us what you think below. Agree, disagree. I won't be mad at you. Leave a comment below and tell us your thoughts about this game and any other. And of course, visit my page, wt.buzz/TC. We've got a Weekend Warrior Pass for $49. We have a buy 1 month, get the second month for $3 a day. So you get 2 months of all access, every play, every day, every sport for under $400. We have a $99 a month full season, full year pass, I should say. Gets you every play, every day, every sport for the next 365 days. Lots of good deals, short term, medium term, long term, at wagertalk.com. Check them out and get on board. Again, my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with all your bets this weekend. And stay tuned right here on the channel for more quality video content. Cheers.